Hello everyone, welcome to my kitchen where we are going to be presenting a pork stir fry on a bed of white rice. I will provide everything that you need to know on how to make this as we prepare the meal, as well as a proper costing in the description down below. So if you guys are interested in making this at home, I highly encourage to do so. And here we go. And the first thing that you want to do is get your water boiling because that's going to take the most amount of time. So we are going to start with 2 cups of water, which is going to be equivalent to 2 cups of white rice. And we've got 1 cup of water, and we've got 2 cups of water. There we go. Yeah, we'll turn that off for a second because water costs money. And we'll add some fire! Yeah! Get that sucker burning. There we go. All right. Now, don't do what I just did. Never spin the knife. As someone who's put themselves in the emergency room, cutting themselves on a knife, I don't recommend it. Probably one of the hardest parts of this meal is actually going to be cutting and preparing your onion. I don't know about you, but the only thing that makes me cry more than an onion is spilt milk. And I have a daughter, so you can imagine how often I'm grabbing the Kleenex. Now we are not going to be using the entire onion. You can if you want, but we're going to probably use about half of it. This is really just going to be more for seasoning and for flavor as opposed to actual consumption, but obviously it's going to be a vegetable that gets included in this, so you're probably going to eat it. Alright, so we're going to use about half the onion like I said, so just 1 cut down there. And you can dice it or put it into rings. We're going to dice it. Now you can do this 1 of 2 ways. We're actually going to cook this diced onion with our pork that is off to the side. We're actually going to cut that all together so we get some nice onion flavors mixed in with our beef as well. But this is all going to get added to the stir fry later on. So when it's kind of diced to your liking, there we go. Let's just add that to our pan over here. It's a little dark, so we're going to illuminate our cooking just a little bit more for you guys so you can actually see what's happening over at the main stage. It looks like our water for our rice is just about boiling here, so we can go ahead and actually turn that right off, and we're going to go ahead and add our rice as we go here. Over the pot of water is going to be our best bet. We're going to go 1 cup of rice-ish, 2 cups of rice, there we go. 2 cups of rice. And we're actually just gonna leave that alone, take it off of heat entirely, set it off to the side, and we're gonna deal with that later. Let's get our pork going because the meat will take the longest to cook. Let's cut this up into strips here. You want a really good cutting knife, especially because there's a little bit of fatty tissue on the outskirts of this pork here, so you're going to want to make sure that you've got a nice, well-sharpened knife to cut through that. Now, I believe that these are natural fats. It should be okay, but obviously not everybody is a big fan of fatty parts on their meat, so feel free to cut it off if you so choose. We're going to cut it into nice big strips so it doesn't take quite as long to cook. So just toss that right in our pan there. And we're going to do this another couple of times. Alright, nice and quick cuts here. We're not really looking for elegance. We're kind of more looking for speed. If your guests or the people that you're serving want to cut it down into more, you can always cube it as well. Sounds like my daughter in the other room is not having a good time either, so that is fun. Don't worry, my sister's watching her. We are kind of at the sizzling stage of our meat here. We're just going to give it a quick little stir. We're going to turn it down just a little bit. I have a natural gas stove and oven, which means my cooking temperatures are going to be much higher than people who are using electrical elements. So you just want to be careful about your cooking temperatures and your cooking speeds. If stuff starts to stick to the pan, you can use a little bit more oil or a little bit of water depending on what you're cooking to kind of ease things up a little bit. Did I ever get to mention I used to work in a kitchen? I used to work in a kitchen. Now you know. On to the fun part, broccoli. This is 1 full head of broccoli. You can kind of get whatever amount that you need, but what we're going to do here is I've actually exchanged out a small pot for the wok where we're just going to be kind of cooking everything, and you can use the entire head if you want. I think for our purposes for this recipe, we're probably going to use not quite the full head, but certainly at least half of it. So you can cut it up and dice it up in any ways you want. And I've already got about 1.5 cups of water ready to go because we're going to be adding in broccoli as well as carrots. So let's just kind of get this all cut and chopped here. We're going to be using whole baby carrots for our meal for tonight. You can cut them in half, dice them up if you want. We're going to leave them whole. They're going to be a lot easier to cut when they're nice and mushy and moist and warm after being basically broiled in some water, which is what we're going to be doing when we add it to the broccoli right now. That's 1, 2, just about 3 cups of baby carrots, and there's still a little bit left over if you want a little bit of a tasty snack later if you're feeling peckish. How's our meat doing? We're just going to give that a quick stir. You see all those juices coming up. This is why you don't want to use too much oil, because a lot of natural oils are going to come out of the meat when you're cooking it. That's looking actually pretty decent. I've heavily seasoned it with some pepper as well that we had around the house. Let's get the heat going on our veggies here, and we're actually going to put a top on that as well. Get some more fire, and give that a quick stir up as well, just to make everything nice and mixed up. And that's basically gonna steam in there as is, and that's gonna make for a great topping for the whole rest of our meat. Because, you know, if you like it, then you should have put a lid on it. If you like it, then you should have put a lid on it. Now we're gonna add our sauce in, and then we're gonna add in our meat, which is now cooked. I did drain a little bit of the water that was left in the veggies. I did add a bit too much. All right, so we're just gonna stir all that up and give it a little bit of a simmer. Yeah, that's one of my pets. I have 2 of them. Ace and Indy. A bonded pair. We've had them for, oh goodness me, probably 5 years now. So I just want to kind of keep stirring it every now and again just so that nothing sticks to the pan. I'm a kitchen artiste sometimes, even if other people may say otherwise. I get a lot of practice in. I get a lot of practice working from home. All right, so that is going to just about do it for our simmer. We are ready to plate this bad boy, so let's do it. So the first thing we want to do is we want to get our plate ready with a nice little bed of rice. We're just going to move that over there. Nice little spoonful. Just spread that out a little bit, maybe just a little bit extra. I'm a big fan of rice, so we'll just put that down there. Make a nice little bed of rice. And we're going to come over to our stir fry mix and get a nice composition. Look at all that. You get a little bit of meat, just a little cupped hand sitting right on top. Green up that meal. So there you have it, everyone. A beef stir fry with broccoli, sauce, and carrots. Bon appetit!